Today we're going to be discussing the 5 different snipers that have unlimited range for a one-shot down in Warzone and help you decide which one is best depending on your playstyle. So let's start with the fastest bullet velocity in the entire game, and that is the Anti Tank Rifle from Vanguard with a very impressive bullet velocity of 1859 meters per second. However, the downside and the trade-off to this is the slowest aim down sight speed, coming in at 650 milliseconds. I actually had a ton of fun using this on Rebirth Island, and I think honestly in the right hands for an accurate sniper, as long as you're not the super aggressive player, I think the anti-tank might be a phenomenal option on Caldera for some of those long-range snipes, because you barely have to lead your snipes with even at very long-range shots. So to get the fastest bullet velocity possible on this build, you got to go with the Mercury silencer and then the 420 Empress barrel. I know it doesn't actually say here plus bullet velocity, whereas the 440 does. However, according to sim.gg, which is where I got the majority of my stats along with true game data, this one actually ends up being the fastest bullet velocity. For whatever reason, lengthened is bug and it's not letting me attach this, so technically I can't get the absolute maximum here, but hopefully this is fixed soon. Then the rest of the attachments I did to try to minimize that aim down sight speed. The underbarrel magazines, none of these really seem beneficial. For perk, I just went driller. It's basically like FMJ for more bullet penetration, so the combination of these two should be able to shoot pretty much anything. So the second fastest bullet velocity sniper ends up being the 3-line at 1,628 meters per second. However, the ADS is only slightly faster than the anti-tank at 641 milliseconds. But one very large benefit to this build is it has a very, very high damage profile. So basically any chest shots will result in a 2-shot down at any range. So you don't necessarily have to hit those headshots. And maybe for the not as accurate player, this might be the better option. However, the clips you're seeing on screen are of the fast ADS version, and this thing's rather impressive. However, it has a very, very bad aiming stability or very bad aim sway. And if you're not holding your breath, this thing is near impossible to use. And I found myself being very inconsistent with it because of this. It makes it a lot more difficult to quickscope because you have to make sure you hold your breath, and that kind of takes a second for it to do that and kind of center and steady that scope. So this is the max bullet velocity build with the MX silencer and then the 820 barrel, and this one actually increases the damage as well. The 30-06 20 round mags increase the damage as well, along with bullet velocity, and the rest is kind of to reduce that ADS and also the help with some of the aiming stability with some of these other perks like silent focus and also the custom stock. So this is the fast ADS version. We switch out the muzzle and barrel for the Mercury and then the Empress 514. I really enjoyed this, but like I said, it was very inconsistent because of the very weird aiming sway and aiming stability. And then next we've got the good old HDR with a very impressive bullet velocity of over 1,300 meters per second and still a pretty solid aim down sight speed at 476 milliseconds. And this honestly is one of my favorites when it comes to a long range sniper. This one just feels the most consistent to me. It also, since it's an MW rifle, you have access to the custom reticles, but I think it's a very underrated pro of this gun. So this is the max bullet velocity version with the monolithic and the 26x barrel, the tac laser, and then the Stalker Scout stock help reduce that ADS. A lot of people do like to go with the dual zoom scope, and that's a great option for long range sniping. However, personally, I like just the regular scope, a little bit faster ADS speed with this build, and then I go with the focus perk, which actually reduces flinch, since the heavier snipers have a lot more flinch than like the CAR or the Swiss do. And then the other Modern Warfare sniper that is one shot is going to be the AX50. Now, I think the max bullet velocity version of this sniper isn't really that great to use because multiple other snipers just do the same but better. However, an interesting build that I've been running on Rebirth that I really enjoyed is the no barrel version, which has a pretty impressive ADS of 415 milliseconds and a decently fast bullet velocity of 888. You can get this even faster if you go with the fast ADS barrel all the way down to 330 milliseconds, which is actually a little bit faster than like the meta CAR build. However, the bullet velocity is horrendous at about 500 meters per second, so I really don't recommend that. So this is my recommended build with no barrel, which is like the middle range in terms of the bullet velocity, and then I just threw on the sleight of hand perk where you can go focus. But if you want the max bullet velocity build, we are going to go with the 32-inch barrel, and then if you want the super fast ADS build, you would go with the 17-inch, and then you would take off the suppressor, and then you can throw it back on a perk or something like that. And just as a side note, even this build still has unlimited range for a one-shot down. It's just very hard to actually hit your shots that far because of how slow it shoots. And then we have the ZRG from Cold War, which has a very impressively fast aim down sight speed of 375 milliseconds with the sound moderator build, while it still maintains a relatively fast bullet velocity at about 1180 meters per second. And overall, when people ask me, hey, what is the best sniper in Warzone? The best overall well-rounded one, I think, is definitely this sound moderator build for the ZRG, because it's decently fast, it's not heavy, it's got really solid bullet velocity, and it has unlimited range for a one-shot potential, unlike Swiss, CAR, and many others. And this build is only slightly slower aim down sight speed than your meta Swiss build, except the Swiss only has a max range of like 40 something meters. So, you know, the ZRG does have a lot more flinch compared to the Swiss, so a little bit, you know, not as good in situations like that. Or you could swap on the wrap suppressor for a little bit better bullet velocity at the trade-off is a little bit slower ADS, which for Caldera, that'd probably be the recommended build I'd say to go with. Another pro of this is that it has a 2-shot chest shot down up to about 100 meters or so, which is very useful. It's got a great damage profile compared to a lot of the other snipers we talked about besides that 3-line build. So this is a ZRG build with the sound moderator, like I said. So the combat recon gives you best bullet velocity. The 5 milliwatt helps your ADS the most. You only start with 3 rounds on this, so I definitely recommend going 5 round. The other ones are going to hurt your ADS, so I don't recommend that. Serpent helps your ADS the most. Some people do like to go airborne, not quite as fast as the boost to your ADS, but it does help your aiming stability and flinch resistance just slightly. And then if you want the max bullet velocity for Caldera, just swap that out for the wrapped. There you go. Alrighty guys, that is all I've got for you today. I hope you found this kind of short and sweet informational video helpful for you, help you decide which sniper is best at long range. Otherwise, if you enjoyed the video, please leave a like, consider subscribing for more content like this. Come say hello in a live stream. Have a fabulous rest of your day, and we will see you in the next one.